Airbrush 101. How many already own airbrushes? One. Well, you don't count. Two, three, one. Okay. So none of you have airbrushed or know anything about airbrushes. Okay. So there's many types of airbrushes, and these are mine. Oh, late.
I come here in cans, so
So this is an Iwata, and it is a top feed, so it has a bowl up here. Yep. Might sweat on you. And your basic parts are... Someone didn't clean their airbrush at work, did they? Now, this is the one I use at work on kiddie rides mostly, and it needs thinner. So I like this one. Iwatas are actually really good airbrushes. What I don't like about them is when you're a klutz like me and your air hose catches around your foot and you throw it against the ground, you might as well just buy a new airbrush, because the parts, I had to replace all this, and it was like as much as a new airbrush. So other thing I don't like about Iwata is they've got these, good God. I have both pliers and needle nose. Yep. They have this really teeny tiny little cone thing in there, and you have to have a special wrench for it. I never really have to mess with it though, unless you throw it on the ground and destroy it. So I don't like top feed bull-fed airbrushes for makeup in a haunt setting, because you're constantly changing colors. Good God, man. Once I start, oh.
Rich, does that fan not work?
Pissing in the ocean, man. Yeah, that will be better. So when I'm doing makeup, I found this little guy, and it can do both. You can put a little bit of makeup in there, or you can use bottles that have a stem on it. You just stab them in there. And I like that because you don't have to clean out this entire bowl of color, and you waste less makeup that way. So what else? You can get, it is.
We just spent $5,000 to shampoo for makeup.
Yeah. It's pretty much the equivalent of automotive paint, because I just dropped $1,600 yesterday on like 4 colors and some other stuff. Gallons, but still, it's never fun. Like, and you'll find with every airbrush has a pro and con. This one, if you drop it, the needle sticks in just enough out of front of this. If you drop it and it's front heavy, you're gonna hit that needle, and 98% of the time you need a new needle. So that's the problem with this one. But this is my little workhorse. They're like I said, less parts. You got the front cap and a cone, and that's it. And the cone doesn't screw in or anything. It just sits in there. So what I usually find, everybody always is like, it's not working. And all you have to do really is pull the needle out and let air blow through there. Maybe run some alcohol through there. And what do you don't jam your needle in the front. You want to nicely put it in there, and then tighten this little backing nut. when you jam the needle in there, you end up getting a little split in that cone, and then you get sputtering, like, and it'll do all sorts of weird stuff on you. So it's just kind of something you figure out with it over time. So that's pretty much an airbrush. I don't know. Oh, and then there's these, which I spent a lot of money on and regretted instantly, but it's still neat. So this is actually made by who we get makeup from, and they're more of what I would consider a stencil gun, because you can't get real fine line with it. So on a normal airbrush, you push down for your air, and you pull back for how much paint you want to come out. So you can get really fine, like my little veins and stuff. Like these Iwatas do really nice veins. Or big old bursts of paint. So this guy, it's kind of opposite. You don't ever have any paint going through the gun. All your paint is in here, and your needle, the amount of paint comes out from how much you twist the bottle. So it's more of a medium to heavy line gun. That's why I say they're really good for stencils. You'll see these guys at Elitch's with the stencil booths. They'll probably have something like this, because there's nothing to clean except your bottle. And I got a good deal on them, but these now are like $800 setup. It's
What is it?
0G airbrush stencil gun, and I use it for teeth, tooth stain and stuff. But it's a neat gun. I'm still glad I have it, but yeah, I don't recommend it. So especially for if you want to get into like special effect makeup, they're good for doing base out of the main color of your person or whatnot, but it wasn't as cool as I'd hoped it to be. So I also kind of wanted to find out what would you all like to learn from this class. There's only so much you can talk about an airbrush. Do you all want to become makeup artists? Is that why we're here?
Can I ask a question?
Huh?
So if those get dropped on the floor,
These ones?
yeah, well, any of them, and the front portion gets bent easily, should we have padding on the ground at all? Like you do with woodworking or, hairdressers?
Yeah, if you want.
Well, it's just I didn't
Yeah.
know if that in the long run would help, but is it a moot point?
It's probably cheaper to buy a new needle.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, you can have the foam padding, but the chances are it'll fall in front of that foam because of Murphy's Law and all that. But needles are, I think, like $10. It's Amazon, But yeah, if you had like foam padding on, it would help for sure. I don't want to have foam padding in my paint booth because I'm wheeling in carts and all that. So, Badgers are about 135 or so. Iwatas are more like 175 or something like that. And like I said, they're a really good airbrush. They do sell just bottom feed, so just that as well. This is a Badger. I have like 5 Badgers. Yeah, 4. And as far as maintenance, yeah, you can just break one down pretty easily. Take the needle out. You have this guy that unscrews, And that's where your spring is, inside of there. So if you take this off, gift. Thank you. Now there's a little spring in there. And that's basically all you ever really have to take apart on an airbrush. They're pretty simple little machines when it comes down to it. So, is air on? Do we have air? No? That's all right. So, and then right in here, there's a little valve. And every once in a while, you might get paint or makeup in there, and they'll unscrew from the bottom. Just clean them out. They have, with the makeup, I do. It all depends on what you're spraying. So if it's like automotive paint, you want thinner. The makeup that we use is alcohol based, so alcohol. You can. I don't have it with me, but they have special airbrush oil that's for that. And I'll drop a couple drops down onto that valve. Unplug it. So cute. All right. What am I doing wrong? Good thing I'm taking. Yep. Huh. So I didn't think I'd actually paint, but I guess I will. Who wants to be painted on? Yeah. Who wants to be painted on? Okay. Such a go-getter. Such a go-getter. Usually all you need is about 20 to 15 pounds of pressure. It's hard to adapt from it being cold without first hotness. Alright, so, and hopefully my bottles will cooperate because they've been sitting since last season. So I'll start out with just a base color. Usually it's a gray or a whitish. And we usually use the bigger gun for that, but we don't need to get crazy. Get a little eyelash. A wish. All you're wanting to do is get rid of all that pink flesh. gray.
It's a nostalgic smell.
Isn't it?
Smell. Chemicals.
I've always been told it smells really good compared to the stuff we used to use. It smelled like dog shit. Yes. Yeah. At my old haunt. Then I usually go into the eyes, but you'll pick up really thinned out. What? So I'm like barely pulling back really. And I do a lot of the same thing. You want to follow like the creases in your eyes and around the nose. That's a real good effect, like especially with like a little bit of red. Makes you look a little sickly or strung out, whichever. And then I like to kind of break up the gray with just coming in with little blotches. And just kind of you don't want a whole lot of makeup coming out. You're better off doing it 4 or 5 times than being real with everything. And it's all about layering. I bet you're glad I wore deodorant.
I'm glad I wore deodorant.
Well, I can't smell, so you're okay. And then I'll just keep doing it and kind of get a little darker. And you're best off to not pick colors like black to do like lines or something, because it's just too opaque and just doesn't seems like it would work, but it doesn't. You know, even when I'm like doing painting on sculptures and stuff, I'll do a wash on something and wipe it off. And black always is always a bad choice. Like you want like a darker brown or something, but black is always just kind of you want to use it as minimal as you can. Should have all my bottles shaken up before. I didn't think I was gonna.
I didn't think I was going to be painted. So
I didn't either. I didn't know what I was gonna do. To be honest.
fair enough. That's the best way to go in life.
Yep. So see, you'll still have purple in there. I don't have a spray bottle, so we'll just deal with it. So see, that's perfect example. I know. I didn't bring half that stuff. All right. So another fun little technique. So darker red. Make yourself some darker spots. And then you just kind of come around the outside with some more red. It's real light. Wanted to give it that infected look. And then you barely want any paint at all coming out. And that's when your hand gets all crampy. And sometimes it's blowing so little that it like accumulates on the tip and you got to just kind of blow it out sometimes. And this is being fucky. Just keep coming off of each line. You get some nice little veins going on. And then get some yellow. And I believe you're supposed to work like darkest to light. Is that the right rule? You know.
Yes.
What do you normally do? Just dive in? That's what I do. I think the theory is you're supposed to put your darker colors. I might be wrong here. It might be backwards. I think light first and then darks. But I tend to just kind of do whatever I feel like. But the reason for that is it's easier to cover up light stuff than the darks. So, yeah, something like that. Something like that. And then I'll just come in with a little yellow on the outsides just to kind of give it some of that bruising look.
Yeah.
What else? What else? And the black I kind of used to kind of like go back over their eyebrows and just kind of lightly darken temples, a little bit on their hair because it always ends up getting grayed out. Scrunch your lips. Okay. Black. Good. And another reason I like this makeup so much is that it layers so nice on top of each other's. Where I've used other airbrush makeup in it, it's all right, but this stuff really is probably the best in the market. Even with airbrush acrylics, they have like opaques and transparents, and they don't layer very nice. I mean, they do, but black is also another fun one for the veining. So, questions?
You look good.
Come on, gotta be one.
How long have you been doing this for?
Since '97, I think.
How do you like come up with different ideas? Like you would get stuck doing like the same thing over and over.
It's easy to get stuck doing the same thing over. I don't. We usually try to put pictures up. That helps a lot. They are now making us reference books of stuff they'd like to see, which helps a lot. Mainly that, like just having, because yeah, it's real easy, especially when there's 40 of you left and we have a half hour.
Right.
Zombie number 5. Zombie number 5. And it's real easy to do the same look and just vary it a little bit, and that breaks it up. And having a different face changes it a lot too. So, but yeah, we all say that too. I feel like I've done 8 of the same makeups, and they all look different. It's just something you also kind of feel like you're doing unconsciously, but you're not. But it is, yeah, it's hard to. It's best to have like the book. I think has been a good idea. So definitely helps to have a morgue of different pictures and whatnot.
We'll bring up the makeup.
That it? European Body Art, EBA. And then, yeah, just regular 99% alcohol to clean it, or the isopropyl mirror state, which is, we should try it. We'll see if we can get you some. Yeah, and then blood.
I was saying, I don't know if you have blood, but you know I like blood.
What?
Do you want something for your shirt? I don't care about the dress. It's fine.
Yeah?
Okay. But it's a hot jacket, so it already has blood on it. Oh,
Alright.
this shirt has a blood on it already.
There you go.
Just don't get blood all over your weight. Well, I'm going to McDonald's after this. Oh. They expect it in the hot season. They don't expect it now.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's like, already? I was like, I gotta go do hot stuff.
You're like a horrific princess.
So, what's your thought process for weight on blood? Because obviously, like, you don't want to just like straight up the blood, but kind of like,
My process?
sure, yeah.
I just use the squirt bottles.
What do you say, puppy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've done many methods. I used to have a cylinder that hooked up to a solenoid, so I had like full on like the air blasters in the haunt, and you fill it with blood and shoot the people, but too many people got it blown under their eyelid. Not by me. I let other people do it. Some people just, like Andrea, you remember Andrea, my friend that would come in? She does that, and some people use a brush. I like the bottle because you can tighten it to be a mist, or yeah, if you go closer, it usually is better too. Instead of way back here, and then it's just like liquid fog.
How often do you paint teeth and what's method for that?
I should paint everyone's teeth, but some of you are all, I don't want it, it's gross. And we might have to make it a mandatory. I'm looking at you, yeah.
No, thank you.
Didn't ask. Because it really does. You'll do all this on someone and then they got great teeth. And
Oh, don't worry, I know.
Wow. Still pretty, they're intact. They're not green or, they should be green or yellow or black. So,
So what's the method though? Do you
Oh.
dry them off?
you dry them off clean them with some alcohol if you really want it to stick. Get them real dry. And then I like the actual tooth shade colorants, and I use this airbrush. Just spray it. The little brushes, they don't work. It doesn't coat it, and then when you go to put on another coat, it
It
peels off. Yeah, it softens up what's on there. So it's just like, that's like any paint that has solvent in it, because that's an alcohol-based acrylic. That's what that tooth shade is. So, and we can use the makeup as well. People do it. It's safe. It's not going to kill you fast. What else? What else? Now that I've stopped sweating profusely, I can handle it. Just had to get all the toxins out.
So are there any kind of like brushes that don't require like a mild like stain or something, like handheld brushes or anything?
That don't require air.
Or they have like the little air pumps on them.
They have them, but I used one back when I used to do models,
Yeah.
and you'd be using so many little cans of propellant that it's not, I don't know what else.
Do you use ink thinner for the makeup?
No.
Okay. How much do you recommend for like acrylics?
To thin it out?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't use thinner in acrylics.
Okay.
They're usually water-based, aren't they?
Okay.
So, and like this stuff comes where they say they don't recommend you thin it, the makeup, but like Createx, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It just depends on what you're doing. The more you thin it out, the more transparent it will get. But if it's not going through your airbrush, like, really depends on how thick it is in the first place. Like I know sometimes the black and the white are really thick.
Yeah, my white keeps blocking my ear.
Yeah, well, white's notorious because there's so much pigment in white paints that I have problems with automotive whites doing stupid stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah, to just kind of tag on top of that, if you're using acrylic, so water's not going to get out enough. Whatever company paint that you're using, they usually have like Airbrush paint thinner.
yeah, the
Compatible.
Createx makes a thinner, but I've always just used regular water for that stuff, and it's been all right.
So when you're painting masks, obviously you want to black out anything that could show, but for face-only masks, what do you usually do for that?
Just darken it up.
Okay.
Like face, what do you mean face only mask?
Like
Oh,
if
just
someone's
their
gonna
face?
wear a mask that only
It's
covers their
usually,
face,
yeah,
but they have a visible mask.
unless it's something it's real easy to continue off. There's like a pattern or something. We usually just blacken it out.
Okay. If we want to become a makeup artist here, what does the process for that look like?
You have to audition. When's those? Forgot. We are having auditions this year. We will be having to fill in 2 spots this year. So if you guys want to try out, you can.
Do we have to have our own equipment?
No, because they have Pache airbrushes here, and are a good airbrush to learn on for sure.
about some whole kit, what would you recommend for a starter set for people?
Pachets are affordable, or even the Harbor Freight ones are fine. I've used them for a minute. You know, it is true you get what you pay for in this area, but yeah, the Harbor Freight ones are great to figure out and learn on, and if you fuck it up, it's not a big deal. Yeah, yeah, I think it even comes with a compressor. Yeah, and that's all you need is one of them little compressors. You don't need a big old tank or anything. You're only using 20 to 15 psi. It's nothing. And like to start out, like me, I'm invested in all these. These are actually old Createx bottles, acrylic paint, and then I find the lids, but they're not. The lids are, they charge more than they should be. So to start out, I would try a top feed. You know, you might waste a little paint, but you know.
Do you recommend mixing inside the top of that or like in a separate container? Because I've seen both and I don't know.
Like you're trying to make a shade, or
Yeah.
I'd do it externally.
Okay.
Because once you pour paint in with first color, it's going to get up into that needle, and you can't get in there to stir it. You'll be blopping it over. I'd do it separately, man.
For those top loaders, obviously when you're switching colors, you're going to dump the excess. But then would you just rinse with the color you want to go to, or would you do it with alcohol and then switch to the color you're going to?
I'd alcohol, or even like take a napkin and then spray water, alcohol, whatever.
Run it through the needle.
Run it through there, clean it out.
Color until you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's, and especially if it's like you're going like black to white, you know, you'll see you'll end up with gray for a while, and then it'll turn white. Yeah. Bart, any questions?
I'm glad you like it because I hate
Questions?
color. Airbrush.
Oh,